Venezuela, a land of staggering beauty, rich in oil and burdened by turmoil. The upcoming presidential election has cast a spotlight on this South American nation, a country grappling with political divisions and a crippling economic crisis. The stakes are immensely high. The outcome will not only determine Venezuela's trajectory, but also resonate throughout the region and beyond. Millions of Venezuelans will head to the polls to decide their future. Will they choose continuity or change? Will the election be a step towards stability or further entrench the country's divisions? These questions loom large as the world watches with bated breath. This election is about more than just choosing a leader. It's about the soul of a nation. It's about hope for a brighter future. It's about the fundamental right to a life of dignity and opportunity. The world is watching, hoping that the voice of the Venezuelan people will be heard. Nicolás Maduro, the incumbent president, stands as a figure of deep division. To his supporters, he is the heir to Hugo Chávez's socialist revolution, a bulwark against imperialism. They point to his social programs, his defiance of the United States, his commitment to the legacy of Chávez. However, Maduro's critics paint a different picture. They see him as an autocrat who has eroded democracy, presided over economic ruin, and driven Venezuela into the ground. His rule has been marked by shortages of food and medicine, hyperinflation, and an exodus of millions fleeing hardship. Maduro's re-election bid is bolstered by his control of state institutions, including the military and the Electoral Council. He has effectively silenced dissent, cracking down on opposition leaders and independent media. His grip on power remains firm, but the depth of discontent among the populace is undeniable. Facing Maduro is Edmundo González, a former diplomat representing a united opposition coalition. González emerged as a consensus candidate after Maria Corina Machado, a prominent opposition leader, was barred from running by the Maduro-controlled Supreme Court. González carries the hopes of many Venezuelans desperate for change. He has campaigned on a platform of economic recovery, national reconciliation, and restoring democratic institutions. His message has resonated with those yearning for an end to the crisis and a return to normalcy. However, González faces an uphill battle. The opposition has limited access to media, and there are widespread concerns about the fairness of the electoral process. Despite the obstacles, González has vowed to fight for every vote, urging Venezuelans to choose a different path. Looming over the election is the specter of Venezuela's economic meltdown. Once a prosperous nation buoyed by oil wealth, Venezuela has been brought to its knees by a combination of mismanagement, corruption, and plummeting oil prices. Hyperinflation has ravaged the economy, rendering the bolivar almost worthless. Basic necessities like food, medicine, and hygiene products are scarce and exorbitantly priced. Millions have been forced to flee, seeking a better life in neighboring countries and beyond. The economic crisis has had a profound impact on Venezuelan society. It has fueled crime, eroded social trust, and left millions struggling to survive. The desperation is palpable, and it is this desperation that has driven many Venezuelans to seek change, no matter the cost. Section 5. A divided international community. The international community is deeply divided on Venezuela. The United States, along with several Latin American and European countries, has condemned Maduro's government, imposing sanctions and recognizing opposition leader Juan Guaido as interim president. However, Maduro retains the support of countries like Russia, China, Cuba, and Turkey. These nations view the crisis as an internal matter and have accused the U.S. of meddling in Venezuela's affairs. The geopolitical standoff has further complicated the situation, making a peaceful resolution more elusive. The international community's role in the Venezuelan crisis has been a subject of intense debate. Some argue that sanctions have exacerbated the humanitarian crisis, while others maintain that pressure is necessary to force Maduro to negotiate. The stakes are high, and the potential for unintended consequences is significant. Section 6. The Diaspora's distant vote. Millions of Venezuelans have fled their homeland, seeking refuge from the crisis. Scattered across the globe, they watch their country's fate unfold from afar, their hearts heavy with a mixture of hope and despair. Many in the diaspora remain deeply invested in Venezuela's future. They send remittances to support loved ones back home, follow the news obsessively, and advocate for international action. The election has taken on a particularly poignant significance for them, a chance to have a voice in their country's future despite the distance. However, exercising their right to vote has been a challenge for many in the diaspora. Limited access to consulates, logistical hurdles, and bureaucratic obstacles have made it difficult for some to cast their ballots. Despite these challenges, many have gone to great lengths to make their voices heard, their votes a testament to their enduring connection to their homeland. Section 7. The military's uncertain role. The Venezuelan military looms large over the country's political landscape. Maduro has relied heavily on the military's support to maintain his grip on power, rewarding loyalty with key positions and economic privileges. The armed forces have become deeply enmeshed in the government, their influence extending far beyond the barracks. The opposition has accused the military of complicity in human rights abuses and corruption. They have appealed to the armed forces to uphold their constitutional duty to defend the Venezuelan people, urging them to break ranks with Maduro and support a transition to democracy. However, the military's loyalty remains a wild card. While there have been isolated defections, the top brass has largely remained loyal to Maduro. The outcome of the election may hinge on the military's willingness to accept the results, a prospect fraught with uncertainty. Section 8. Echoes of Chávez. The legacy of Hugo Chávez, the charismatic and controversial leader who died in 2013, continues to cast a long shadow over Venezuelan politics. Chávez's socialist revolution, fueled by oil wealth, brought about sweeping social changes, lifting millions out of poverty and empowering the marginalized. However, Chávez's legacy is a complex one. His policies, while initially popular, also sowed the seeds of economic mismanagement and political polarization. His fiery rhetoric and confrontational style alienated many and deepened divisions within Venezuelan society. Maduro, Chávez's hand-picked successor, has sought to wrap himself in the mantle of his predecessor, invoking his memory and appealing to his base. However, many Venezuelans, even those who once supported Chávez, have grown disillusioned, their hopes for a better future dashed against the rocks of economic ruin. Section 9. The Campaign Trail. The campaign trail has been a study in contrasts. Maduro, relying on his control of state resources and media, has held rallies across the country, promising prosperity and stability. He has sought to project an image of strength and confidence, dismissing the opposition as puppets of foreign powers. González, on the other hand, has faced an uphill battle. With limited access to media and facing constant harassment from the authorities, he has had to rely on grassroots organizing and social media to get his message out. His campaign has been marked by a sense of urgency and defiance, a call for change, and a return to democracy. The campaign has been marred by accusations of voter intimidation, irregularities, and media censorship. International observers have expressed concerns about the fairness of the electoral process, casting a shadow over the legitimacy of the outcome. Section 10. A Crossroads once more. As Venezuela stands at this critical juncture, the world watches with bated breath. The election represents a pivotal moment in the country's history, a chance to chart a new course or continue down a path of uncertainty and turmoil. The stakes could not be higher. The outcome will have profound implications not only for Venezuela, but also for the region and beyond. A peaceful and democratic transition of power could pave the way for reconciliation, economic recovery, and a return to stability. However, a disputed election or a crackdown on the opposition could further exacerbate the crisis, leading to more violence, instability, and suffering. The future of Venezuela hangs in the balance, the hopes and dreams of millions resting on the edge of a knife.